Welcome in. You're listening to Medical Spa Insider presented by the American Med Spa Association. We are happy to have you with us. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Tiersch welcomes Podium co-founder Dennis Steele to the pod to talk about how Podium has specialized in scaling med spa operations. You'll get the insight perspective on how they've developed their Avery AI system and what they hope it can provide to their clients. And what we hope you can provide is a rating or review, which is always appreciated.
Okay, welcome everybody to Medical Spa Insider. This is Alex Tiersch, and I am very, very lucky and pleased and fortunate to have on the AmSpa hotline the one and only Dennis Steele, one of the founders of Podium, which for those of you who are living under a rock and don't understand what Podium is, Podium is one of the biggest platforms, certainly in our industry. It's been coming on very strong. We've been fortunate to be able to partner with Podium and watch Podium's growth coming into aesthetics and seeing how they've grown. But Podium has been around for a good long time in other industries, and they've grown to be this kind of a massive $1 billion plus company. And it's been really cool to see how they've adapted and brought a lot of new thinking and new technology to our industry. And it's really cool and an honor to talk to you, Dennis. First of all, thank you so much for joining the program. I appreciate you being here. How are things?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me. It is such an exciting time right now, obviously in the technology space, which is very, very exciting, but also in the med spa space. So,
Yeah.
it's great to kind of have those coming together with a lot of excitement, a lot of growth, a lot of progress in both industries at the same time. It just makes for just a lot of excitement. So happy to be here and
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, I can't, I've got so many questions and there's so much to dive into with you, and there's a limited amount of time. But watching you Podium come in and your approach to the med spa space has been fun to watch, because you've number one, you've come in with your core product, but then you've done what a lot of businesses have done and seen this tremendous industry and this opportunity and just said, oh man, this is something that we've got to be a part of. And we have so much opportunity to change and to innovate. Just looking at it back from, a 50,000 foot view, like, what's your thoughts of the med spa industry? How's it been being a part of it? Because you've been doing this for a while and you've been part of a lot of different industries. What's your impression?
Well, I absolutely love it. I mean, for me, there's kind of like the personal side with like my own personal health journey and like,
Sure.
being a customer of med spas and kind of like figuring that out on my own. So there's that side which I love the place where the industry is going in general and the services it's offering. But it's been super exciting on our side, on the Podium side, because as we've grown this business, the growth of the med spa industry and the value that our product was like providing and that we could see these med spas kind of experiencing with the technology, with the advancement of the technology, completely jumped out to us. And we serve other segments, but med spa quickly became one of the most important strategic focuses for our entire business. For a lot of those reasons.
Yeah.
The demand is kind of going through the roof. The industry is growing very quickly, and you have a lot of business owners that are really embracing new technology and embracing kind of like the demand in a really innovative way, which just pairs really nicely with what we're trying to do, right? Like we're trying to bring innovation technology to a segment of the market that is really ripe for it. And so I think those are kind of the two characteristics that have jumped out to us and have allowed us to be like really good partners for med spas right now.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And you don't know this probably, but here at AmSpa, we are very proud of the fact that you consider med spas to be one of your fastest growing segments, and you've invested so much in it. Because for those of you, listening, and I kind of go back a little bit and talk about
Yeah.
the journey of creating Podium, because I was reading a little bit about it today, and your journey in creating it with your co-founder, Eric Rea, I think is fascinating, because when you created it, number one, how you did it, some of the headwinds that you faced, some of the objections that you faced, which I think is always inspiring to me. But at the same time, just kind of how big you've gotten and how much you've grown and where you are, the fact that you are taking such a vested interest in our space, I think is cool. So all that said, going back a little bit, I know
Yeah.
that from what I mean, from what I've read, I mean, this was one of those stories was basically started in like, a garage or apartment or something like that, where you guys were trying to cobble something together, which is always such a cool story. But the thing that resonated with me, and correct me if I'm wrong if I'm not saying this right, but the thing that drove you was that you really did want to help small businesses, and you didn't want to start um, taking this kind of software approach where you were just going after the big enterprise level things. You were helping smaller businesses that were going after smaller level clients, as opposed to these, massive enterprise level clients. And you stuck with that, and you stayed with that approach, even to the point where folks were turning you down and saying it's not a good idea. Um, Tell me about back to that time, if you can remember that far back in 2014.
Yeah, it's
At
been
the
a
time,
minute,
I'd
but
love to
it
I'd love
doesn't
to
seem
dig
that
in.
long ago. But yeah, it's a super fun story. I mean, yeah, you mentioned the apartment, spare bedroom apartment office that we kind of created. And it was funny because we were trying to save money on a whiteboard. So we got one of those that you like stick up on the wall with like
Yes,
adhesive. And we come back the next day and it curled over on itself. And we're like,
wasn't
okay,
very
well,
effective, of
that
course.
didn't work. But super fun times. And it was just the two of us. And Eric's dad had a small business as he was growing up, and he worked there. I was helping local businesses at this time that Eric and I were collaborating on this idea through a marketing agency, and just kind of seeing like how successful these independent uh, owned businesses were, and how much
Yeah,
of a lack they had on the technology and software and partner side, technology side. So we saw this gap, and there was a lot of benefit in kind of being young and naive and inexperienced, because what it forced us to
yeah,
do is we had to go in and walk into these businesses and sit down with these owners and just say, hey, how can we help you? Right? How can we help you make more money and do better with technology and with software? And at the time, we were listening to them, taking all those notes, and then doing coding boot camps in the evening, and then getting on with overseas developers into the morning, and kind of doing that on repeat every single day as kind of like in the early days.
yeah,
And that really kind of reinforced this pattern of like tightly partnering with like a local business, and not just talking to them about their problems, but like going in and like experiencing them like at the store level, which we still do today. And um and then being as kind of advanced as we possibly could on the technology side, because those were the two aspects that we
yeah,
found early on was helpful. And so we tried, and so yeah, I mean, you mentioned some of this, but you know, we took $1,500 between the two of us, and built this first product, and then just started going walking into different businesses and getting people set up with it. So that was kind of the
yeah.
beginnings.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, we quickly gained some traction and were able to raise some money. But when we went to investors,
Yeah,
we did get this rejection. We said, "Oh, look, we have these customers. We're providing all this value. We're really making some advancements and modernizing the way these businesses work." And they say, "Oh, you're selling to the wrong businesses." And we're like, "What do you mean?" And it was kind of that, "Oh, no,
yeah,
enterprise is where it's at, and this is the wrong segment because they're hard to get a hold of, and you guys are really going to struggle and go to market." And it just, we knew, because we were so close with our customers, we knew that the opportunity was really great there. And so we did. We stuck with it. We figured it out. And it might take a little bit more effort to get out there and get in front of these business owners because they're so busy, which is amazing. Um, but we
mhm,
did. We figured it out. And we were able to scale and do something that a lot of software companies weren't able to do, and scale in the local business space. And so that's been super
yeah.
exciting as we've grown.
I think, I mean, I think that really resonated with me, and I think part of it's because this industry, and I'm sure you know this, is, I mean, it's dominated by small business.
Hmm.
We're still in maturing, so we haven't had the massive roll-ups yet. So we're not, commoditized. There's not a ton of these big brand
Yeah. Yeah.
multi-locations. There's some of them for sure, but it's still primarily single location, single owner, maybe two owners, two locations at the most. 90%
Right.
are like in that area. And it's
Yep.
still, and they're all serving single patients. And so I wonder if that kind of, I don't know if you kind of do it, if there's a see-through, like where that kind of resonated with you when you guys were seeing this industry, because it really, um, it, 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 it must have been difficult to hear those no's from some of these investors, but at the same time, sticking to your guns and saying, okay, we're not going to change. We're going to stick to this. But then at the same time, it must be satisfying to know that you've come this way. Now you're, 100, what, a billion? I don't even know how much revenue you are a year. But I know you just got 100 million through the AI, through your AI
Yeah.
agent, I think, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's growing really fast. Yeah, over 1,000 employees and 10,000 AI agents alone across these different industries. A few thousand in med spas alone. And so, yeah, it's been exciting to kind of grow within that segment and stick to it and say, no, like we know this segment is going to get a lot of value. But yeah, the med spa industry specifically, that owner operated kind of space, that's always resonated with us, right? Because the industry might go there in that direction a little bit as it matures, but the fact is the system needs to be designed and built for that in-store experience. Like if you can't make it work
Right.
with a single owner in a single store trying to make their patients happy, then you can't scale anything anyways, right? And so that's kind of been our approach. And especially with some of our newer products, it's partnering up with some of our recent customers and just sitting in store with them and seeing that patient experience and talking about how we can improve it. So it's been super
That's
fun.
awesome. That's awesome. So we have to get to Avery, which is the AI agent, and then now the new EMR that's rolling out
Yeah.
and what you're doing, which is a huge pivot for you guys. But real quick, before we do that, I have to ask because I'm so curious about this, and it's been something that's been gnawing at me, and you're the first person that I've been able to ask about this. Tell me about the Y Combinator that you guys were able to go through, which was, correct me if I'm wrong, a formal like or was run by Google at the time, or was owned by Google. I can't remember what it was. Tell me what that was, because that's like an accelerator for businesses that allows you to get investment dollars and they help you grow. And I'm not sure a lot of people don't, and this podcast don't know what that is, but tell us what that was and what that experience was like.
Yeah, so yeah, Y Combinator was a special experience for us, special time in the company's history that kind of like, you know, created some amazing acceleration. And for those who don't know, Y Combinator is an accelerator program in the Bay Area um, that some of the top tech companies in the world have come out of. So, Airbnb or Stripe on the payment side, which you might have heard of, or Dropbox, or, a lot of these have come through that Y Combinator accelerator
Yeah.
program. And you have a chance to meet with all these other prolific founders and investors and really get the exposure to not only kind of the most you know advanced kind of technological trends on how to build the startup, but also the support. And we ended up getting a lot of investment connections from that to actually really scale the business after that point. So we had followed that closely. We didn't actually think there was a chance for us to get into it, being a small tech startup from Utah, but we went out there and were able to be accepted, go through the program. At the time, we actually exited the program as, at that time, this record's been broken since then, but one of the fastest growing who had ever gone through the program at that time. And it
That's
ended up
awesome.
being like a really special time for us. One side note that ended up being, very beneficial years later that we didn't foresee was Sam Altman was the president of Y Combinator during that time.
Yeah.
And OpenAI was actually at its beginning stages in Y Combinator. So we got close with Sam. We understood what he was doing with OpenAI and, had conversations as early as 2018 and 19 with Sam and his team, thinking about how we could eventually implement AI into that technology. It wasn't until 2023 that the AI was actually to a point that could be beneficial. But we did have that kind of early partnership and relationship with Sam that allowed us to, kind of be early entrants into the AI into the AI space later on. So super
Yeah,
grateful for that experience. It was awesome.
that's so cool. Yeah, no, there's not, I'm sure there's not many folks who have tell the story that they've been through that and let alone, um, got to hobnob with Sam Altman and
Yeah,
Dennis Steele
yeah.
at the time. So that's pretty cool. So, but let's talk about, your pivot. So Podium came in and was primarily, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here. You were a texting based platform where you were allowing communication with customers through texting, which when I remember meeting you all, and kudos to Shannon and her team because they've been great with our relationship. Seeing what they were doing with texting was phenomenal. But it soon kind of, I could see kind of the mechanisms in what you all were doing morphed into developing Avery and this AI chatbot.
Hmm.
But then it's all of a sudden kind of taking another step where you're taking it even further than that with developing an EMR system. And I would love to kind of talk about that thought process. And just and I saw you had a post, I think it was on LinkedIn, where you basically said you kind of bet the whole company on this on kind of the AI.
Yeah.
First of all, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean by that? And then
Yeah.
let's bring it back to med spas a little bit.
Yeah, I'll take you through the evolution of how we got there. Maybe a little luck involved as well. But yeah, we had spent about, 10 years building out this communication uh, platform. And at the time, like, 2022 timeframe, the vision of the company was to be the most modern communication platform and lead like a conversion platform you could plug into your business. It would definitely increase conversion on leads and help you communicate better and, drive success into the business. And so that was kind of the vision. And
Hmm.
then, of course, in 2023, ChatGPT came out and it was kind of recognized, okay, there's a new technology here. And it just so happened that, we were early at testing and building these, like I said, a lot due to that connection with OpenAI. And so in 2023, which is now, almost 3 years since we've been building AI and AI employees on top of it, um, we launched our first AI employee to like say, hey, you can actually have AI and these large language models, carry out tasks for you and communicate with your customers, and you could train them and do really well with that. And so we were pretty early to that. What we didn't realize all those years is your AI is only as good as the tools you give it, right? You can have a really good AI or AI employee. If it doesn't have any tools to communicate, it can't do much for you. And so if you look back, it almost looks like we spent like everything we have built up to that point in 2023, we've almost been able to just hand to the AI employees to make it better. It looks like we almost knew, and that's where the luck came in, is that
Hmm.
the perfect tool set to give to an AI to actually be able to help you go make more money as a company, we had built for the last 10 years. So we felt super fortunate, and that's really what has allowed us to be really effective with Avery as an AI employee is we had the whole tool set because you say, oh, I would like Avery to text my customer. Well, we have the whole inbox, we have the communication channels, we have the back and forth. We can coordinate and treat her or treat this AI employee as a user within Podium. So many things kind of like were there to fall in place to make it, a smooth experience to implement an AI employee into your business
Hmm.
and kind of create the perfect user within the Podium communication tool set. So that was kind of 2023 and 20 and then within 2024 and 2025, as we advanced our AI employee, we kind of came up with this thesis, which everything is moving towards like an AI operating system,
Hmm.
where you have the AI employees that are doing a lot of the work, right, for you and helping enhance your relationship experience with the patients. And we realized that in order for those AI employees to be really effective, they don't only need the communication tools, they also need the workflows and the data.
Mhm.
And that's what got us in the EMR space. And so
Yeah.
when people say, "Oh, Podium, I thought they did communication. How are they AI and EMR now?" Well, there actually is like a really kind of like smooth evolution into, you know, giving the AI employee the right communication tools. And now with our EMR system, building an we call it an AI operating system because it's meant not to be your classic EMR, right? It's meant to be an AI first or AI forward platform that where you have AI employees working right alongside you, helping you to be more
Right.
successful.
The Medical Spa Show returns to the Wynn in Las Vegas April 9th through 12th. Every year, MSS is where the best come to get better. Over 100 educational sessions, a sold-out expo hall filled with more than 200 potential brand partners, and networking events that bring together the most supportive community in medical aesthetics. Friends of the pod can save $100 off their registration today with the promo code INSIDER. That's medicalspashow.com, promo code INSIDER. We can't wait to see you there. Promo code expires April 9th, 2026 and only applies to primary registrants. Cannot be combined with any additional offers. Learn more about this event at medicalspashow.com.
So what's the through line there? And I'm going back to what you mentioned, which I thought was, astute, when your conversations with the small business customers is really what drove the creation of the business in the first place, and those
Yep.
interpersonal relations. What were some of the small businesses telling you that kind of led to this? All right, well, we've got this incredible, AI platform. We've got an AI employee that is able to do these things, and we've got the tools. But what was missing there? What was the thing that they were saying, look, we wish we were able to do X, Y, Z, that led you then to say, okay, what's missing is this EMR? Like, how is that the through line that makes it all kind of come together? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was mostly seen where there's pretty like apparent, obvious kind of gaps that you would love to have like a human employee fill, but it's actually super difficult. So like one that was very obvious was like, oh man, you know what? You know what we notice? Some of our best customers and our like highest ROI patients, they actually look us up and learn about us like at night when we're not in the office, right? And it
Yeah,
sounds so simple, but
that's true.
we when we ask a lot of times we just ask customers like what are the things that like you feel like are most like painful to you as as a business owner where that you wish you could do, right? And we just start there because a lot of times you can solve this now with AI. And that was one we heard constantly. It's like, man, I just wish I could have somebody that was fully trained on my entire business and go answer people's questions because they're looking me up at night and I can't serve them well. I can't get back to the till the next morning. And we know how like fragile that lead conversion is at
Hmm.
night. And I mean, that's the perfect place, right? That's the perfect place for an AI employee to pick up these leads, answer questions, get something booked on the calendar right away, make it feel like an Uber-like experience, when you come home and you get the kids to bed and you want to like, get an appointment for your facial at 9:30 at night, that's the time to make that conversion. And so that's just one example, but it's a lot of those where it's like, oh, I wish I could fill this gap. I don't have the personnel. I don't have the time or the bandwidth to do that, but it would make a huge difference. And so
Right.
now when you look at Avery, 40% of all the bookings are coming after hours for Avery,
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
business hours. And so that's one that really translated where people are like, I wish I could do this. And now we can deliver that with AI. And it's really exciting.
Yeah. No, that's all. And it is. I think that's a huge missing piece. Um, it is to me. It's one thing to make that jump, and it's another thing though because there are other EMR companies out there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of folks are like, well, you can just plug into them. You took it another step and said, okay, we're going to build one that folks, so you can have your AI employee kind of integrated into all of them. And to me, that's another, I mean, that's a step further, right? Because there's EMR, these EMR there already. And what was the the discussion like to say, you know what, we're not going to go with what's out there. We can do it better. Because that's a bespoke industry unto itself, right? There's established companies that have been out there doing it for a long time. In a way, you're entering into another competitive market space.
Yeah.
Um, but and and I mean I've no doubt you guys are going to crush it because you've got the feel for the business. But that must have been a some discussion behind that as when you're going to decide to take that on as opposed to just doing plugins, right?
Yeah.
Which could have been an option, I suppose.
Well, yeah, it was a huge thing for us. And when you look at what was allowing us to pull this off, and if you look at the speed at which we were able to develop it, again, AI was pivotal to that piece, and we had to change a lot of things internally. And so, timing wise, like it's felt very lucky because this AI operating system, what we get to do with every feature that we build for the EMR is we got to say, okay, first principles, we're building from scratch and we're going to build it fast and reliably with using AI because AI has really advanced the speed of coding. What we thought was going to be like a 5 year roadmap, we've been able to do in a year essentially with how fast AI has advanced. So we really disrupted our whole, hundreds of engineers and product people that we have at Podium. We had to kind of disrupt the whole way we were building product and do this very quickly, but effectively. But the biggest thing that we saw was we got to say, okay, we're building this a new feature. We have new technology. So first of all, take standard feature in EMR like calendar. Okay, how do we build a calendar and scheduling better because we have AI? And
Mhm.
how do we build it in a way that works really well with an AI employee? And we get to
Mhm.
approach those two things from scratch and build like a really nice experience for both of those. So we're looking for ways we can build some of these traditional features that you still need in an EMR, but we get to do it with
Mhm.
AI. And then we get to have it be really adaptable for an agent or an AI employee to plug into and do a lot of work for you in the system. And those two things are a huge advantage. When we look at other, systems in the market, there's some difficult adaptations you have to make, which is,
Sure.
okay, we are going to build on top of the old system? Are we going to try to
Mhm.
disrupt ourselves and build something new? And then a lot of the piece that we had that a lot of other platforms were missing was that whole communication layer. So if you are going to build an AI into your traditional EMR, how do you get the communication layer to be at the center of it? Because that's really what's going to
Yeah.
be um, driving the communication with the team and the AI. So, a lot of it probably was timing, but we feel very fortunate that it all came together for us now to be able to say, we get to build this AI first operating system that's never been done before. And we think we can get better results with it than has been done in the past. So
Yeah, no, it's cool, it's ambitious, and this is why I mean, at the beginning I said it was really inspiring to see you all coming in and doing, to our industry, med spas, which has been, I know I've been involved in med spas since 2008.
yeah.
And it's such a different world now. I was just having a conversation with someone not long ago, even from 2014, 15, back when Podium first started, like this is a totally different industry. And
Hmm.
um, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have there, you're not really in other medical industries besides med spas, right? I think you're in dental, in some other
We have
places.
some customers. Our full focus within the health industry right now is in the med spa space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
all of our investment in this segment is specifically for this industry. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
you're invested in making this industry grow and successful just as much as anyone else.
yeah, absolutely. And we understand that. And so what we've done within Podium, because we're a large company, we've dedicated and completely like roped off these teams almost as a startup within like the
Mhm.
the med spa space. That is their sole focus from, the like consultants on the new business or sales side for us. If you're interested about the EMR, you're going to work with somebody who only works with med spas. And when you talk to our
Right.
product team about our EMR, like that product team only builds the EMR features, right? And when you get onboarded and you get supported on our customer success side, it's with people who only work with med spas. And that's really important to us because, you know, AI is allowing us to build like very custom bespoke AI employees and operating systems for our customers. And that deserves like somebody who's really kind of intimately knows the ins and outs of your business too. So that's
Yeah.
how we designed it internally. So it's I think that'll pay off over time.
Yeah, no. So I mean, and so Avery, I mean, what is it? Avery kind of 2.0, or are we at 3.0 now? And Avery is not called Avery in some of your other industries, right? It's a named like
Yeah,
Jerry.
yeah. We use Avery in the med spa space. It goes well. Jerry is usually
Yep.
what we use in the automotive or home
Yeah, that's
services
right.
space.
Avery.
So you
Gotcha.
can call your AI employee whatever you want. We
I
typically
like
say
Avery.
Avery out of the
Great.
box. Some people, I talked to somebody earlier today who they call theirs Topanga, and they really like their AI employee. So yeah, you can call it whatever you want, but you know, Avery's evolved to be much more customizable. And so
Yep.
what we're seeing is every business has a lot of nuance. Hey, we like to say things like this, or we don't like to mention financing on the first call, or
Yeah, yeah.
there's so many different approaches that people have. You need to be able to customize.
Hmm.
And so that's what we're building into these newer versions of Avery is to be able to, train her like you would a normal employee, get her up to speed with knowing the nuances of your business and kind of sticking to that so you can trust her as an employee to talk to the
Yep.
customers and deliver the right message,
Yeah.
answer the right questions, et cetera.
Yeah. That's so what's the kind of the and obviously there's we don't have enough time to get into the nuance of all this, but the vision for how this will look when you have Avery integrated with the EMR. Um, Everything is integrated. It's synergistic. It's all together. Um, how does that like? I'm trying to ask this question in a way that's not totally vague, but like how does that work? Like, what's your vision for that as far as this is something that is just going to make the entire practice kind of come together in kind of one touch point. So there's really this is obviously it's to make the business owner's life easier so they can do things easier and quicker. Um, but in the end, what is it like? What does it look like? What's your vision for when this is really done and it's at its best and it's been this is really where you want it to be. What does that look like?
Yeah, super exciting right now to see the advancement because we get to keep updating this vision like every few months as we see the AI capabilities kind of
Yeah.
um, continue to advance. Because you do hear these announcements from OpenAI and these other companies of like, oh,
Yeah.
we're getting better. Well, that just allows us to kind of up that vision. But really, when you take Podium, and again, these components that we had years of being able to perfect, so the phone system and the payment system, the EMR, and the communication layer. Now you have like a complete view and data set into your customers, right? A lot of times people didn't have the phone integrated. Think of all the conversations and data with your patients that you have just by all the conversations you have over the phone. That's all
Yeah.
plugged in, right? So we have our
Yeah.
phone system, all the transactions,
And when
like
you say it's plugged in, like it's like is this transcribed and then
yeah,
sent over?
yeah, everything is transcribed and you were able to add to the data set and make it accessible to Avery. So, we don't have all of this connected yet from an AI perspective, but eventually Avery will be just as up to date on every single phone call that has happened as anyone on your staff, which allows her and the AI to be more effective at carrying out real workflows. And that's the biggest difference. When you think of like traditional software, you think of like, oh, we got to like build all these like automations, which are just kind of like triggers and predetermined workflows. With AI, if you give enough context and show the AI everything that's happening across the business, you can just say, hey, help me fill my calendar. And
Hmm.
it will have so much context around your current customer, like your current patients, your existing patients, the patients you have on membership, the vouchers you have available, the gift cards that are out there. It will be able to look across all those data sets and say, you gave me a goal to like fill the calendar. Okay, I'll go do that. And I'll make phone calls. I'll send out text messages, I'll send out emails. I'll do these promotions and we'll be able to accomplish the goal together with AI. And I know that might sound pretty ambitious, but we're seeing all the signals of this already. And we're working on some stuff that we'll be releasing in the next few months even that really shows some of this off, where we're able to do, what we call revenue mining is one example, where if you get enough of the data set in front of the AI, you can basically collaborate with the AI on how to go fill your calendar and drive more
Yeah.
patients to the business. And Avery can go take those tasks on and do more complex workflows. So as we look forward, that's how the AI operating system comes together. You want all the pieces connected so that the AI employee can be really good at kind of carrying out these tasks and workflows for you. And there's going to be a point, not too long from now, where you can just say, here are my goals, and there's enough context and capability in the AI employee to go help you accomplish those goals. And you can say, hey, I want you to work with my team like this. And that can be very different per practice. So maybe you have a practice where you want, more direct communication, with humans. And maybe there's a practice that wants it more automated. You'll be able to kind of customize all of that as we
Right.
go. So more customization, more workflows, more collaboration with the AI to accomplish goals. And that's an exciting future to kind of build
Yeah.
toward.
It is. I know folks are going to ask me this, so the worry is privacy for health data and
Hmm.
patient data. Obviously,
Hmm.
how do we make sure that um, that's maintained? I'm sure
Yeah.
that's something that's top of mind for you guys.
Yeah, super important. Yeah, we totally, support HIPAA compliance and know that that's super important. And so we're really conscious of it as we build out this platform and think about security and think about the security of that HIPAA data. So
Yeah,
yeah, want to
yeah,
support that compliance as much as possible. And it's kind of like, especially in this space, it's got to be at the forefront of any feature, right?
yeah.
As far
It
as
has to
like,
be. Has
yeah,
to be.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess my last question is, have you and Sam discussed when, you know, AI is taken over and we're all going to be plugged into the Matrix? Because I would like to know so I can make
Yeah,
plans.
yeah, yeah. No, can't share that yet. No. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, but there is that unpredictability, which,
Yeah.
it can be a little scary as far as like I think the future is harder to predict now than it's ever been because we have such an advancement of this technology that's changing, and its capability is able to get ingrained in so many different areas of life. And so an unpredictable future can sometimes feel a little uneasy. I think what we've found is leaning in, embracing, being as curious and experimental as possible, helps us as a company to feel confident that you can adapt. And really it comes down to that adaptability. Like
Yeah.
things are going to change. It's going a little faster than it has in the past, so it can feel a little, um, you know, uh, uneasy at times even. But
Yeah.
we try to like keep a super positive, exciting, optimistic view towards it, and just kind of lean in as much as possible. And for our customers and partners, we say, hey, let us take that on, right? We'll kind of go to the very edge and be as advanced as possible and bring you the technology in a nice, easy, consumable way to just plug in.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
so, let us worry about doing the hard part and trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys. And that's our job. So,
Yeah. I love that because I am uneasy, but I'm also excited to kind of watch what happens. I do
yeah,
think, I mean, we got to go back. You got to go back to that apartment and do like open a med spa there or something.
that would
You
be.
ever go back there and drive down that street and
Oh yeah, all the time. It
it's
is
got to be
it yeah,
crazy thinking about
still
those.
pinching ourselves of like, man, how did that happen?
Oh
Um,
man,
but
that's insane.
it's
And
been
what was
super
your,
fun.
if you can share, I know I just saw a post where you just your AI generated employees generated 100 million in revenue that I see.
Yeah, so that's actually our revenue
That's
growth as a
insane.
business. We've essentially sold over 10,000 agents, 10,000 AI employees, to businesses to help them get their work done. And I think I was looking at some of the data this morning, and it's, I think over 10 million interactions and messages that our agents have had with end customers, and millions of dollars generated in outcomes as far as when you look at appointments or services booked. It's pretty amazing to see the value that it's driving, and super excited to think about what's ahead. So yeah, it's fun to reminisce and think back to those early days, and it still feels sometimes like those early days because we're in such an innovative time right now. I'm working with the product team so closely as founders, and very fun.
I can tell by the parking lot outside your window that it's significantly bigger than the
Yeah,
bedroom
exactly.
apartment. But congratulations, man! It's cool. It's a cool story. I think it's really cool that you're helping small businesses. Because that's obviously that's the lifeblood of our industry, and we need it. We need that. I was talking to somebody today, and it's like really what I'm feeling. Because we talk to thousands of these med spas, and what they're really feeling right now with AI and with all this technology and just with the industry is they just feel uneasy, and it's like they
Hmm.
don't know
Hmm.
how to wrap their head around it, and they don't want to be left behind. They want to make sure they're doing what they can. And they need some of that assistance because they're not getting to go to the Y Combinator and do
Yeah.
these things, right? And so they need this support, and so that's why we're here and why we're glad that you're partnered with us. So it's a cool story.
Yep. Love. Yeah. And the partnership with AmSpa has been incredible for us too. And I think that's why it's felt so good, is there is kind of that mutual kind of feeling of like, hey, we want you to do what you're really good at, right? On the med spa space and as med spa owners. And where can we add our expertise and help you guys be successful? And when you're able to kind of nail that, it makes for just great partnerships and a
Yeah,
really fulfilling kind of mission. So
I agree. Well, I appreciate it. And Podium, obviously, you'll have a big presence at AmSpa, the Medical Spa Show, April 9th through 12th at the Win. I'm not sure if you or Eric will get a chance to pop by, but if you are, please do. I know you'll have a presence there, and folks can probably check out Avery. And are you gonna have the EMR to
yeah,
roll out there
we're going to be
too?
showcasing it. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
awesome.
we're going to kind of be debuting it at the M Spa show, and we're like really excited about it. And we're going to try to make it down there and be there. And so yeah, swing by, check it out. Yeah,
Cool.
we're very excited.
You won't regret it, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun. The energy, I'm telling you, that I've been to a lot of conferences, and the energy and excitement it's just people are just so excited, and it is because they're all small businesses and they're here to help each other and they're excited for one another. So it's cool. I think you'll appreciate it.
Love it.
Well, thank you for your time. And we look forward to seeing, and thanks for all you're doing for the industry. And I can't wait to see what comes next.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you to our producer, Madeline Moeller, marketing content coordinator, who organizes the podcast schedule and guests and provides topics and talking points. Audio and video editing, voiceover, graphics, and platform management is provided by myself, Derek Hawk, digital marketing supervisor. Our themes are provided by Maka Music. Thank you for watching or listening to the Medical Spa Insider podcast. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. Ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, visit americanmedspa.org. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by AmSpa. Views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance in the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. AmSpa provides this podcast as a full service for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Please consult with an attorney on your legal issues. And as always, thank you for listening to the Medical Spa Insider. Remember, compliance is cool.